We're on again. Here we go. Good afternoon. It's the 31st of May. It's Tuesday today, and this is around lunchtime. Um, Bit of noise going on in the background. Don't know if you can hear it. There's some planes from the local Air Force base doing some maneuvers around about. God knows what they're getting prepared for. Anyway, uh, this little uh, this little bit today is based on the work of a man called John Taylor Gatto. John Taylor Gatto was named New York City Teacher of the Year on 3 occasions. He quit teaching on the op-ed page of the Wall Street Journal in 1991, while still while still New York State Teacher of the Year, claiming that he was no longer willing to hurt children. Um, so, what was he talking about? Here's a man who spent a large part of his adult life teaching in a variety of different schools, and he's decided that he needs to get out because this system is just dragging, uh, forcing, manipulating, guiding the children in the wrong direction. Well, we're going to look at one of his principles here. And his theories about why this is happening. And to understand why this is happening, you've got to think about two different kinds of schools that basically exist now. We're looking at the state school, the state-funded, sponsored school, where most of the children are going, where the money comes from the government into the school. The curriculum is externally organized, and there's a situation of sometimes order and learning and just sometimes absolute bedlam. So that's one side. Now look at the other side. There are people who have a little bit more money, and these people are going to send their children basically not to a state school, but to a private institution, which can basically design its own curriculum. Now, why are they going to do that? What's wrong with the state school? Why are they paying a large sum of money, sending their children often away for a whole term to stay within some halls of residence at these schools um, to to get what they consider to be a better education? They're paying money for it. Obviously, they know what they're doing. So the question is why? Why are they doing it? We're going to look at the 14 principles of private education, not state education, private education. Why do people pay money to send their children to these special schools? What's better about them? Here we go. Number one, private schools teach the law of human nature. What is this? This is a knowledge of history, philosophy, theology. It's a knowledge of law and the literature of law, and it's a knowledge of resources and databases, where to get the information when you need the information, how to find it. Point two, they teach the active literacies. This is speaking and writing. Now, not speaking and writing in the sense of providing some information to someone you know, but communicating with people you don't know, how to uh, how to get across, how to communicate your information to people that you've maybe never met before, never seen before, but they're going to come in contact with your information. Consider the concept of someone writing a book and they don't know who's going to read it. That's the idea of this element of communication, and really focusing on the rhetoric. Communicative element there, as well as the writing that people have to do every day, and large amounts of it as well. Point three, an insight into the institutions and structures of society. What does this mean? This means governments, of course, corporations, courts, court systems. Do you know the court system? Where's your local court? How does it work? What's the highest court in the land? Do you know that? Um, Military organizations. What's the connection between military and government? Who has more power? How do those powers work? What's the relationship balance between those two elements? Um, So that's point 3. Point 4, repeated exercise in civility and politeness. Repeated exercises in being generally nice to other people. In essence, you're really showing your best side there. It might be something simple from opening a door, but who knows what an open door in the present is going to lead to in the future. If you have a situation of conflict, essentially nothing positive is going to grow in the short term, or maybe even the long term, from that conflict. So you want to keep all doors open to yourself. You want to be able to resolve situations of conflict as well. You want to be able to find solutions. Some of them might only be temporary, but you want to be able to find them. Point 5, being able to do independent work on your own, using your own knowledge, your own experience, your own resourcefulness. Perhaps that's the element of essentially we are all alone at the end of the day. We are really dependent upon ourselves in order to make informed choices about what we want to do in life. Also related to this is the fact that students want to choose the topics themselves to motivate themselves. Very often, it's not the school that gives you a list of subjects which you are then going to study. It's the student who has to initiate this process by going and visiting a tutor and providing some work before the course starts, convincing the tutor that the student is really able and has the ability to study that course. I know from looking at Buddhism that that's pretty much the same Buddhist principle there, that the student has to persuade the teacher that the student is worthy of studying that subject. And they have to find a solution to that themselves. They've got to make their own path, their own road, going their own way. Sports activities. Now, this is particularly relevant to my experience because I grew up in the north of Scotland, and there's a school there. We're talking about these private schools, so we're talking about these the schools that you don't really hear about in the news. They keep themselves to themselves. Anyway, there's a private school in the north of Scotland. It's called Gordonstoun. I'm going to try and put up some links to it so you can see the difference between that and the state school. See the different way it's running. Look at the different curriculum. Look at the different motivation amongst the students there. It really is a different world there. So the point of this is that at Gordonstoun, students are woken up early in the morning, and they all get up and they go out for a jog or a run. They come back to school, they get cleaned up, they have a shower, they go and study their classes, and in the afternoon, the whole afternoon is basically dedicated to sports activities. Sports. Why are sports important? I mean, you consider in normal schools, sports are only a minor sideline subject, although they're enjoyed by most people. They're not considered a serious subject worth studying. Well, the opposite is true in the private schools. So what do they teach? They teach how to command. They teach teamwork. They teach the importance of the physical body, often grace as an element in subjects. They teach the importance of power. I mean, it's endless what you can learn from sports activities. Just think about playing a series of games over a season. Think about winning and losing, and having to deal with those losses, having to alter and change your tactics to better yourself in the future, and making plans for the next year, or even things just like planning transportation in order to be able to play sports events, or even cleaning equipment. All of those contain elements that are very important for the learning process, and money as well. I mean, if you make it in a sport, you can have enough money to live quite a comfortable life. I mean, that is considered a career. Sport is considered a career now for a lot of people as well. And that includes money management as well. So I put in a lot of extra information there. Let's get on to the other points. 7, access to people and places, and planning how to get access to people and places, in the essence of networking and being able to find people who have the information and can help you with what you want to know, and not being put off by having a failure in that, trying and trying and trying again to get to the right people, to get to the right information. Point 8, responsibility. Always deliver more than is asked for. Always give more. Now, consider that to a state school. Think about what happens in a state school where a teacher goes, no, okay, that's enough. Well, always deliver more. Always give more. That's one of the keys to life. Someone asks you to give 100%, you got to give 100, 110. And responsibility also means taking lead in organizations, having positions of responsibility, the leader, the treasurer in an organization. Or even working together with those people, and even studying what other leaders have done as well. 9, having a personal code, having a personal moral and behavioral code, having a set of standards for your life and actually trying to live by those standards, not just changing them or altering them or following what society says the average person should be, but actually looking to be a person who has morals and can develop moral judgment. And that might mean over time changing those ideas. It might mean developing them as we have new experiences and meet new people and get older and go through life. Point 10, a familiarity with the great works of art that exist within society. An understanding of the great works of music, the great classical compositions, an understanding of the great paintings, why they were painted, how they affected society, an understanding of design, of architecture, of buildings, just look at churches for an example of that, an understanding of the three-dimensional art, sculpture, architecture, just mentioned that, dance, as another element, and to be at ease talking about them, to feel comfortable when we're talking about those important elements. Accuracy, point 11, accuracy of observation and recording. Understanding what you see and being able to record what you see in detail so that other people can understand what you have seen. If you look at some parts of education and history, you'll actually see that it was thought that if you couldn't represent something by a drawing of it, that you couldn't actually see it. So this is something which has existed for long periods of time and has been handed down. We're also looking at point 12 here, an ability to deal with challenges, to challenge yourself to get better. Sure, other people can challenge you, but you've got to challenge yourself. You've got to push yourself to the limits that you have for the things that you want to do, and to overcome your own fears, your own cowardice, and to put your energy into developing yourself in those areas, to have no fear, as they say, of entering a new situation with new people and doing it with confidence and with skill as well. Point 13, to have caution in reaching conclusions, to have a reasoning process that you go through in your mind, where you are able to take the details and facts from each individual situation and decide with discernment whether or not the facts fit the actual situation, whether or not the conclusions that you reach are logical based upon the information that you have, and an ability to follow those conclusions that you're making, and seeing where those conclusions are leading also. Point 14 here is an ability to make judgments that develop your own values and opinions, and then to follow and assess the things that have happened to you, the events, and to monitor your own ideas, and then to reflect on how that has developed you and how that has made you change, so that you're able to develop your own skills and take them forward, so that you don't stagnate in life and stay at one point. So you try to push yourself forward with each new, perhaps, day that you exist, and each new experience you have within that day. And I'm going to put up some more links to this of other things, and those are the principles and theories that exist within the private institutions that make them better than the state institutions. Thank you very much.